Catching a serial killer isn't exactly like the movies, dear reader. It's less dramatic chases and more super detailed, patient detective work that relies on three main things: figuring out their pattern, leveraging modern science, and honestly, waiting for the killer to mess up. It's a painstaking process, but every time, the investigation boils down to a few core elements. First off, investigators need to connect the dots. When a series of murders hits different jurisdictions, law enforcement uses specialized databases like the FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program to link those seemingly random cases together. They look for the killer's modus operandi. That's just a fancy term for how they commit the crime, like the weapon they use or their method of luring a victim. The MO is crucial, but the psychological goldmine is the signature. This is the ritualistic, unnecessary stuff they do because they have to, like posing the body or leaving a specific item. That signature is what helps profilers build a behavioral picture, giving detectives a potential glimpse into the killer's inner fantasies and personality traits. Next, you've got forensics, and this is where science really shines. Thanks to something called Locard's exchange principle, we know that every contact leaves a trace. This means the killer always leaves something behind: DNA, a fiber, a footprint, and always takes something away. Whether it's the victim's hair on the suspect's clothes or an identifiable print on a weapon, tiny bits of evidence collected carefully at the crime scene are what ultimately stand up in court. Modern DNA analysis has been a game changer, not just for fresh cases, but for solving decades-old cold cases by running old evidence against new genetic databases. This DNA mapping process has evolved dramatically with forensic genetic genealogy, FFG. Unlike the government's CODIS database, which only checks for direct matches to known criminals, FGG involves taking an unknown crime scene DNA profile and uploading it to public, direct-to-consumer genealogy databases, like GEDmatch. When a match to a distant relative, like a third cousin, is found, expert genetic genealogists build out massive family trees using public records, birth certificates, marriage records to trace the DNA back to a likely suspect who fits the age and location profile of the killer. This technique was instrumental in finally catching infamous offenders like the Golden State Killer, decades after their crimes went cold. The investigation into Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, is a perfect case study in how these elements converge. In the terrifying summer of 1985, Ramirez launched seemingly random, brutal home invasions across California, often leaving satanic symbols as his signature. The police used traditional forensic work, including matching bullet casings and, critically, identifying a rare brand of shoe print, Avia, left at one of the scenes. The breakthrough, however, was classic police work colliding with public vigilance. After Ramirez abandoned a stolen car in a parking lot, detectives were able to retrieve a partial, clear fingerprint from the steering column. This fingerprint was run through a newly established automated database system, AFIS, and matched to Ramirez's prior record. Once his name and mugshot were released to the public, he was instantly recognized by residents in East Los Angeles and held down until police arrived. A testament to how community effort often provides the final piece of the puzzle. Ultimately, it's a combination of brilliant police work, enduring forensic science, and the killer's own human flaws that leads to the final takedown. Now, do you think you have what it takes to solve a murder?